There is a place in the Gulf that looks small on the map. Easy to miss. Easy to underestimate. But this island kingdom has stood at the crossroads of empires. Faith, trade, oil, protest, and power for thousands of years. A land where ancient burial mounds rise from the desert, where pearls once ruled the sea, and where the future of the Middle East is being tested on a strip of land barely bigger than a city. This is Bahrain. In the warm waters of the Persian Gulf sits Bahrain, a small archipelago made up of one main island and dozens of smaller ones. Its capital, Manama, rises sharply from the coast, a skyline of glass and steel standing against the sea. Surrounded by regional giants like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, Bahrain appears fragile at first glance. But its history tells a different story. Its name means two seas, a reflection of its dual nature. Bahrain has always existed between worlds, between desert and water, tradition and modernity, local identity and global ambition. Geography shaped its destiny. For thousands of years, ships passed through these waters, traders stopped here, and empires sought control. What makes Bahrain remarkable is not its size, but its role. It was once part of an ancient trading civilization linking major regions of the world. Later, it became famous for pearls that defined its economy and culture. In the modern era, it emerged as one of the Gulf's early centers of finance and commerce, while maintaining strategic importance in regional politics. This is Bahrain's paradox, a small kingdom with a large influence. Beneath its modern skyline lies a deeper story, one shaped by merchants, divers, rulers, and ordinary people navigating change. To understand Bahrain, you have to look beyond appearances and into the layers beneath. Bahrain's story stretches back to ancient times, where history begins to blend with legend. Around 2000 BCE, it was part of a powerful trading civilization that connected distant regions. It was not just a stop along trade routes, it was a bridge between worlds. Goods, ideas, and wealth passed through its ports, making it impossible to ignore. Evidence of this past still exists. Thousands of burial mounds dot the landscape, silent markers of an organized and influential society. Ancient writers from different civilizations knew of Bahrain, showing it was deeply embedded in global history even then. At the heart of this early world stood an ancient harbor settlement that controlled trade across the Gulf. Ports like this were not just economic hubs, they were centers of influence. Bahrain learned early that control over movement meant control over opportunity. In the 7th century, Bahrain became part of the Islamic world. Religion arrived not only as belief but as a system of law, culture, and identity. Over time, Arab and Islamic influences became deeply rooted in society. Yet Bahrain's location remained both an advantage and a challenge. In the 16th century, European powers took control, followed later by regional empires. The island kept changing hands because it remained strategically valuable. A major turning point came in 1783, when the Al Khalifa family took control. Their rule continues to this day, shaping Bahrain's political identity through centuries of change. In the 19th century, Bahrain entered into agreements with Britain, becoming part of a wider imperial system. This relationship provided security but also tied Bahrain to global power dynamics. It marked the beginning of Bahrain's transition into the modern state system. Then came oil, but with a twist. Unlike its neighbors, Bahrain's oil reserves were limited. This forced the country to adapt earlier, seeking alternative paths for growth rather than relying solely on natural resources. Before oil, however, the sea defined Bahrain's life. For centuries, it was one of the Gulf's major pearling centers. Diving for pearls was dangerous and demanding, yet it shaped the entire society, its economy, culture, and traditions. Bahrain's history is layered: ancient trade beneath Islamic identity, maritime heritage beneath modern development, foreign influence alongside local continuity. And in 1971, after centuries of external control, Bahrain became an independent nation. Independence did not erase its past, it carried it forward. The same questions remained: how does a small island survive among larger powers without losing itself? Bahrain's modern history is defined by balance, between reform and control, openness and stability, internal identity and regional pressure. After independence, Bahrain joined other Gulf states in forming a regional alliance aimed at collective security. Its small size made such partnerships essential. During regional conflicts, Bahrain's strategic importance became clear again. Its location made it valuable for military and logistical operations, reinforcing its role in broader geopolitics. A new chapter began in 1999 with leadership change. Reforms followed, including a new constitution and elections, creating a sense of optimism. For a moment, it seemed Bahrain might find a more inclusive political path. But underlying tensions remained unresolved. Differences over representation, power, and equality continued to shape society. In 2011, these tensions surfaced dramatically. Protests emerged as part of wider regional movements. Citizens called for reform, while authorities viewed the situation as a threat to stability. The response was decisive. External forces supported the government, and a strong crackdown followed. While some reforms were introduced later, the overall system remained largely intact. This period marked a rupture in trust. It showed how internal dynamics were closely tied to regional concerns. In the Gulf, domestic unrest is rarely isolated, it is linked to broader geopolitical anxieties. In the years that followed, political space narrowed. Opposition groups were dissolved, and dissent became more restricted. Bahrain stabilized, but under a more controlled model. At the same time, economic pressure grew. Falling oil prices and rising debt forced the country to seek regional financial support. Fiscal reforms were introduced, including new taxes. Bahrain's turning points are never purely political or economic, they are interconnected. Every decision affects identity, stability, and regional relationships. Despite these pressures, Bahrain endures. It adapts and continues forward, though tensions remain beneath the surface. To understand Bahrain fully, you must look beyond politics. Bahrain is culture, rhythm, and daily life. It is hospitality, language, and tradition. It is the blending of old and new, where modern city life coexists with deep-rooted customs. Arabic is the official language, but many others are spoken due to a diverse population. This creates a unique cultural soundscape, reflecting Bahrain's openness and global connections. The population itself is diverse, with a large expatriate community. This adds complexity to society, shaping everything from food to business practices. Religion plays a central role in daily life. Social norms remain influenced by tradition and faith, even as the country presents a modern image. The sea remains central to Bahrain's identity. The Pearling era shaped not only the economy but also culture and memory. It represents a time when survival depended on courage and endurance. Manama, the capital, reflects Bahrain's dual identity. It is modern and cosmopolitan, yet closely tied to tradition. The connection to neighboring countries adds another layer to its cultural landscape. Beyond the city, older neighborhoods preserve Bahrain's heritage. Traditions survive through family, rituals, and everyday practices. Bahrain's identity is not singular. It is a combination of influences: Arab, Islamic, maritime, and global. This complexity is not confusion, it is composition. Bahrain's economy stands apart from typical Gulf narratives. While oil played a role in its development, limited reserves forced Bahrain to diversify early. Instead of relying solely on energy, it built an economy based on services, finance, and industry. Today, most of its economic activity comes from non-oil sectors. Finance, manufacturing, and technology play major roles. This diversification reflects long-term strategic planning. The financial sector is particularly important, positioning Bahrain as a regional hub for banking and investment. Industry also contributes significantly, with large-scale production in areas like aluminum. Foreign investment remains a key part of the economy, showing continued confidence in Bahrain's position. Long-term planning initiatives focus on sustainability and competitiveness, aiming to reduce dependence on oil further. However, challenges remain. Debt levels, regional competition, and economic pressures require ongoing adaptation. Bahrain still relies on support from neighboring countries at times. Its economy is not defined by abundance but by strategy. It is an example of how a country adapts when resources are limited. Bahrain today presents two realities at once. On one side, there is visible progress. Modern infrastructure, digital services, and global connections define its public image. The country functions efficiently and continues to develop. On the other side, political caution remains. The effects of past unrest still shape governance, with limited space for opposition. Social complexity adds another layer. A diverse population creates both opportunity and challenge, raising questions about identity and belonging. Bahrain is a place of contrasts, ancient and modern, open and controlled, traditional and global. These elements do not cancel each other out, they coexist. It is a country still evolving, aware of its position and the expectations placed upon it. Bahrain's future depends on several key questions. Economically, can diversification continue to succeed despite limitations? Can the country maintain growth while managing debt and competition? Politically, can long-term stability be sustained without broader inclusion? What kind of social balance will define the future? Culturally, how will Bahrain preserve its identity amid rapid modernization? Which traditions will remain central? Regionally, Bahrain will continue to operate within the influence of larger neighbors. Its success will depend on how effectively it navigates this environment. At its core, Bahrain's challenge remains the same: how does a small state maintain its identity and relevance in a rapidly changing world? Its history suggests one answer: adaptation. Bahrain has continuously adjusted to new realities, finding ways to survive and remain significant. Bahrain is more than a small island in the Gulf. It is a reflection of the region's deeper themes: trade, identity, power, and change. It is ancient yet still evolving. A place shaped by history but not defined by it. Its story lives in the tension between past and future, tradition and ambition, limitation and possibility. And on that narrow strip of land, between two seas, that story continues, quietly, steadily, and with far greater significance than its size would suggest.